Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing a really easy crock pot bread recipe. I didn't even know that you can make bread in the crock pot, and I came across this recipe and I decided to give it a try and film it just in case it came out, and it turned out perfect. I know that bread right now is really hard to find on the shelves, so hopefully this will help some of you guys out. I wanted to pass this along because it is so nice and comforting to know that you can make bread in your crock pot. So the first thing I'm going to do is take some parchment paper and I'm going to place that down into my crock pot. And one of you guys had actually recommended to me in a previous video to ball the parchment paper up first, and it'll kind of shape up a little bit easier whenever I place it into the crock pot. So that's what I did. I just balled it up into a ball, and then I just took and stretched it out and placed it into the crock pot, and it did hold its place a lot better that way. And another thing that I wanted to do was spray the parchment paper with a little bit of olive oil, just in case the bread decided that it wanted to stick to the parchment paper. Alright, moving on to the actual bread recipe, I'm going to start with a packet of active dry yeast and some sugar. And I'm going to leave this recipe down below so that you guys can get the exact measurements on everything. But like I said, I'm just adding in some yeast, some sugar, and some water, and then I'm going to give that a stir. And the recipe also says to make sure that your water is lukewarm. Alright, now I'm going to take some all-purpose flour, and the recipe calls for 3.5 cups. I am going to be working with a half cup measurement, so you'll see me adding in doubles, but it's because I'm working with a half of a cup measurement. And then once I have the flour in, I'm going to go ahead and add in the olive oil and the salt. And then we're just going to give it a stir until we get it combined, and then we're going to start kneading it. Now, the recipe does say to do this on a floured surface, but I did not see the need to do that. I could just do it right there in the bowl. So I just took and put a little bit of olive oil on my hands, and I kneaded it right there in the bowl, and it worked out just fine. And you just want to knead it for about 5 minutes. Alright, so after we have the bread kneaded, we're going to take and shape it into a little ball and place it into the slow cooker. And the recipe says to cook it on high for 2 hours until the internal temperature of the bread reaches about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. However, I had to cook mine an additional 30 minutes. This could all vary by slow cooker. So for my crock pot, this took 2.5 hours total on high. Now I'm just checking the internal temperature with a meat thermometer, and you can see it's not quite at 200 yet. So this is where I realized that it needs to cook for an additional 30 minutes. And once that 30 minutes was up, I checked it again, and at this time it had gotten up to 190. So I went ahead and pulled the bread out of the crock pot, and the recipe doesn't say that it has to reach 200 exact. It says about 200, and the bread felt firm whenever I pressed on it. So I just went ahead and took it out. And you can see the parchment paper makes it really easy to just lift it up out of the crock pot. So it's not brown at all on top, but the recipe does say that you can broil it in the oven for a couple of minutes if you want to get that brown golden look on top. We obviously didn't do that with ours. We just left it as is, and we just took a serrated knife and sliced it. You could use this for sandwiches, you could use it for French toast. There are so many things that you could do with this bread recipe. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. I know that bread right now is scarce in the grocery store. So if you have these basic ingredients at home, you can go ahead and put this bread together, and you can do it in your slow cooker. If you make it, be sure to tag me over on Instagram. And like I said, the recipe for all of the exact measurements is down in the description box below. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.